What's up guys, my name is Ace, and recently in Battlefield 6, there was a behind-the-scenes creator playtest and capture session that went on, and this was designed to show off some of the maps we'll be seeing at launch that we didn't see in the beta, like Firestorm and Mirok Valley. And while unfortunately I wasn't invited to this playtest since I don't have any EA contacts at the moment, it is something I'm actively working on though. In today's video, I wanted to go through every single one of the guns that were in this build, and I believe this is every single gun we will be seeing in the game at launch. And I was able to pull these images from a video uploaded by Charlie Intel, so I will of course leave a link to him in the description down below. And without further ado, let's dive right into this with the assault rifles. And the first one is the M433, based on the H&K 433, and we had access to this one in the beta. It's designed to be more aggressive and close range with a high fire rate. Then we have the B36A4 based on the G36. This one was also available in the beta, and it's just described as being versatile and a mid-range assault rifle. After that, we have the SOAR 556 Mark II, or the SCAR-L, and this one has a fairly slow fire rate. However, it's described as being accurate and designed more for long ranges. Next is the AK-4D, which is the G3A4, and this one has the slowest fire rate in the assault rifle category, but it hits quite hard with a 3-shot kill potential, and it mentions it is designed more for longer ranges. Then we have the TR7 based on the Tavor 7, and this one is also a 3-shot kill with a significantly higher fire rate though at 720 rounds per minute, and they describe this as more of a close range gun, so it probably doesn't have the greatest range to that 3-shot kill potential, and also it is described as having high recoil, which of course will keep it in check at range as well. Then we have the Cord 6P67, which is the highest fire rate assault rifle in the game at 900 rounds per minute, but it's also the lowest damage. It will be a 5-shot kill, even right up close. And they do describe this as a low recoil but high fire rate, versatile assault rifle. Then of course we have the NVO228E, or the Galil Ace 32, which we had access to in the beta. This was quite a popular one, and as far as I can tell, none of the main stats at least have changed on this. So it hits really hard right up close and personal, and it performs quite well out to mid-range as well. And then finally, for our 8th assault rifle here, we have the L85A3, and this one looks to be a nice all-arounder. They describe it as being accurate, and it tends to favor mid to long-range engagements. So there we go, those are the 8 launch assault rifles we're expecting. Now let's move on to the carbine category, and in this we have the M4A1, which of course we had access to in the beta, and this one has the highest fire rate in the carbine category, and it's designed primarily for close quarters, although in the beta it performed just fine at mid-range as well. Then we have the M277, based on the XM7, or I guess it's just the M7 now. And this one's a little bit strange to be in the carbine category, but they do describe this as a mid-range carbine with a high fire rate. Although interestingly, even though they say high fire rate, this is below average for the carbine category when it comes to rate of fire. Next we have the AK-205, which in the beta was a really accurate gun, designed for longer ranges. It kind of sucked up close, in my opinion at least. I really struggled with it up close, but as soon as you got out to range, this thing could really reach out nicely. Then we have the M417A2 based on the HK417, and this one we also had in the beta. It has a 3-shot kill potential, so it hits really hard up close, and it's a nice mid-range carbine. It was a nice all-arounder in my eyes. Then we have the GRT-BC, which is based on the MSBS Grot B, and this is described as being a more aggressive, close-range, high fire rate carbine. And this one has the second fastest rate of fire in the carbine category at 830 rounds per minute. After that, we have the QBZ-192, which they describe as being a versatile mid-range carbine. And then finally, we've got the SG553R based on the SIG553, and this one is yet another hard-hitting, 3-shot kill potential, mid-range carbine, with what appears to be the fastest time to kill potential, at least up close, in the carbine category. Although in the description it says its effectiveness quickly diminishes beyond mid-range, so it seems like they are going to be keeping it in check that way, so it'll kill really fast up close, but at range it won't be very effective. Now, let's get into the SMG category, and unfortunately in the beta we only had access to 2, but looks like we're going to be seeing 8 of these at launch. And the first one is the SGX, which we saw in the beta. This is based on the MPX, and it's designed for aggressive close-range combat with a high fire rate. Then we've got the PW5A3 based on the MP5, and this one is described as being versatile mid-range, and it apparently performs admirably in all engagements up to and including mid-range. Next we have the PW7A2, which we had in the beta. This one's based on the MP7, and this one has quite a high fire rate at 947 rounds per minute, but a very low damage at just 16. It is the lowest damage SMG in the game, and you could definitely feel that in the beta. It seemed like you were shooting marshmallows out of this thing. But after that, we have the UMG-40 based on the UMP-40, and this one does have the slowest rate of fire in the SMG category, but it is described as being very accurate and designed more for mid-range engagements. Then we have the USG-90 based on the P90, and this one has quite a high fire rate at 900 rounds per minute. It is designed for close range, and the big perk with this is you get a large magazine capacity by default at 50 rounds. Now, after that one, we have the highest fire rate gun in the game, which is the KV-9 based on the Chris Vector, with a rate of fire of 1,080 rounds per minute. And surprisingly, apparently we're still going to have a 4-shot kill potential with that insane rate of fire, which gives us a ridiculously fast time to kill potential, at least up close. However, it does have quite a small mag, especially considering that rate of fire, so you're going to be flying through those 27-round mags almost instantly. Next, we have the SCW-10, which is based on the B&T APC-10. And with this one, it's our first 3-shot kill SMG that we're seeing here, with a really solid fire rate as well. So this one hits super hard up close. And then finally, for our 8th SMG, we have the SL9. And I do believe this is a fictional gun, but they describe this one as being versatile and adaptable to a variety of combat scenarios. And it does have quite a slow rate of fire for an SMG in this game at least. So there we go. Those are the 8 SMGs we're expecting to see at launch. Now let's move into the LMG category, and we're going to start this off with the L110, which we did have access to in the beta, and they described this as being versatile, which I totally agree with. That's how it performed in the beta. It was just good all around, but didn't feel like it was amazing at any one particular thing. Then we have the DRS IAR based on the M27 IAR, and this one is also described as just being versatile and reliable. It has a reasonably fast rate of fire for an LMG, at least at 771 rounds per minute, and surprisingly for an LMG, a very small magazine capacity at 36 rounds, at least by default. Then we've got the M60, which is of course going to be a very hard-hitting LMG, but it's tied with having the slowest rate of fire in the LMG category with the KTS 100, and they do also mention this excels at long range. Then we have another 3-shot kill LMG here, which is the RPK-M, and this one has a slightly faster rate of fire than the M60, but it is still quite slow at 553 rounds per minute. And unlike the M60, they say this one is best suited to mid-range. Next, we have the fastest rate of fire LMG, which is the M123K, based on the H&K MG4. And with this one, with that really high fire rate, it is described as being more of an aggressive, close-range LMG. Next, we have the M250, which they describe as being versatile and designed for long ranges. Then we've got the KTS 100 Mark 8, which we did have access to in the beta, and this one is based on the Ultimax 100, and this one, as we know, is very accurate and designed primarily for longer ranges. It was quite good in the beta. I really enjoyed this one. And then finally, we've got the M240L, and this one is a 3-shot kill LMG with a decent fire rate considering the fact that it's a 3-shot kill LMG, and this means, as far as we can tell, this is going to have the fastest time to kill in the LMG category up close, and they do describe it as being more of a mid-range, general-purpose LMG. So there we go, 8 LMGs. I was quite surprised to see that number of LMGs at launch in the game. Now let's move on to marksman rifles, where we only see 4. And the first one is the M39 EMR, which I absolutely hated in the beta. Not a very good gun. I hope they make some improvements to this before launch. They do describe this one as being versatile and designed for long ranges. Next, we have the LMR-27, which I do believe is a fictional gun. And this one does have quite a solid fire rate for a marksman rifle at 450 rounds per minute. That is the fastest in the category. However, it does also have the lowest damage at just 27, so it will be a 4-shot kill to the body. And they describe this one as being more for aggressive mid-range combat. Then we have the other beta marksman rifle, which is the SVK 8.6. This one I definitely preferred over the EMR. And this one is a very hard-hitting, long-range marksman rifle with a very consistent 2-shot kill potential. And then finally, for the marksman rifle category, we have the SVD-M, and this one has a decent rate of fire for the marksman rifle category at 300 rounds per minute, and it looks like it's going to be quite a consistent 3-shot kill, which in my eyes just looks like a much better version of the M39 EMR. And with that out of the way, we can now move into the sniper rifle category, and we only had access to one of these in the beta build of the game. And this was the M2010 ESR, which was obviously a consistent 1-shot kill to the head, and it did have a sweet spot where we could get a 1-shot kill to the body, although I don't know the exact ranges on that sweet spot. It looks like this is also going to have the fastest fire rate out of the sniper rifles. And this brings us into the SV98, which they just described as being versatile and designed for long range rather than extreme ranges. And they say it's most effective between 45 to 90 meters, and that has me wondering, is this the sweet spot range where we have a 1-shot kill potential somewhere in the body? I think it might be, but obviously we can't really confirm until we get our hands on it. And this just leaves us with the PSR, which is designed for extreme range, and this one says it's most effective between 75 and 150 meters. So again, that could be that sweet spot range. And in the case of both of these sniper rifles, the one I just talked about as well as the PSR, they both have a rate of fire at 38 rounds per minute. So there we go. Those are the 3 sniper rifles that it looks like we'll be seeing at launch. Now let's move into the shotguns. And the first one is the M87A1, which we did have in the beta. It was quite a hard-hitting shotgun. It is a pump action with a rate of fire of 94 rounds per minute. I believe I remember the devs had mentioned they will be toning this back a little bit for launch, because it was just a little bit too powerful in the beta. But after that, we have the M1014, which is a semi-auto shotgun with a rate of fire of 200 rounds per minute. And this one looks like it's going to be less forgiving when it comes to the one-shot kill potential. And this finally leaves us with the 18.5 KSK, which is also a semi-auto. This one's magazine fed, and it has a damage value of 80. So I'm not 100% sure at this point how they calculate their damage values. Like, is that the maximum total damage, or is there a per pellet damage to factor in there as well? Either way, it looks like this probably won't be a one-shot kill shotgun. However, we do have the fastest rate of fire at 300 rounds per minute, so even a two-shot kill should be reasonable with this. And with that, that just leaves us with our sidearms. And in the beta, we only had access to the P18, which was decent enough in the beta. Like, I felt fine with that as a secondary weapon. It obviously wouldn't compete super well with primaries, but if you caught somebody off guard or you're just trying to finish off somebody that you already hurt, this worked just fine for that. After that, we have the ES 5.7 or the FN 5.7, and this one has the fastest rate of fire in the pistol category at 450 rounds per minute, and they describe it as being accurate and more so designed for mid-ranges. Then we've got the M45A1, and this one's going to hit really hard up close. It does have a 3-shot kill potential. Although in saying that, it's not going to hit as hard as the M44, the only revolver we're going to be seeing at launch at least. And this one is going to have a 2-shot kill potential, but a much slower fire rate, and obviously a capped cylinder capacity at 6 rounds. And there we go. That's finally going to wrap it up for the full list of guns that we're expecting to see at launch in Battlefield 6. This time, not based on leaks, these were all confirmed to be in the game, although it is worth noting, the leaked weapon list that we got a little while back that I did cover, it included a good handful of guns that didn't appear in today's video, and I believe that's because those guns are reserved for post-launch content, and they're probably still work in progress. They were just data mined in the game, so even if there's a reference to it, it doesn't mean it was in a completed state or anything. But overall, assuming these are all of the guns that we're seeing at launch, I think this is a very good list of weapons. For most weapon classes, there's tons of variety in there, and I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on these and doing some much more detailed testing, because there's only so much you can gather here based on the description as well as the basic stats that they provide for us. And for those that are wondering, yes, I do plan on doing gun guides for Battlefield 6, not necessarily for every single gun in the game, but I definitely want to cover some of the more popular ones at the very least. And then we'll just go from there. If it ends up being really popular and people want me to continue, then I will likely do that. And with that, this is where I'm curious to hear from you guys in those comments down below. How are you feeling about this weapon list that we're seeing for launch for Battlefield 6? Do you guys think this is a good amount of guns? Are you happy to see any particular guns here? Or are there any guns that you feel were missing from this that you were really hoping to see in the game? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.